face. Is that the latest that I've ever been? I don't. Yeah, it's up there. It's up there. This is about as late as it gets. Well, I'm super late, right? Okay, so outside of me being super duper extraordinary late, right? This is beyond CPT. This is way beyond CPT. My apologies, everyone. So let's do our intros. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in, right? Um, and let me get a comment in the comment box for the first people in, so that we can know that we have people listening in. Okay, so, and hopefully you guys can hear me. I made sure that I did everything so that you guys can hear me, or so that I won't have that many issues or problems, right? Okay, so, yeah, so, let's do this. I listened to the whole thing from, oh, shout out to BGS. BGS put out a review, of course, in traditional BGS fashion, very academic, very intellectual, right? He mentions Clark, he mentions people that spoke about this before, which is black women, black men, white women, white men, and interracial relationships amongst us, right? And how white men traditionally see interracial relationships amongst with white men and black women. How do you see interracial relationships with black men and white women? How black women see interracial relationships with white men, which is themselves and white men, and how black women see interracial relationships with black men and black women. How black men see interracial relationships with themselves and white women, and how black men see interracial relationships with black women and white men. And lastly, how white women see these interracial relationships with themselves and black men, and how they see interracial relationships with white men and black women. Now, the clip in question, and once again, I watched the whole segment, the whole thing, but particularly the segment, which starts around the 36-minute mark. For those of you that check, the descriptions are in my, the links are in my description. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And if you watch them, it'll start around the 36-minute mark. It ends around maybe the 50 or so minute mark, maybe actually a little bit less than that. And they start off by speaking about Jonathan Majors, which, for those of you that don't know, is the brother that's playing Kane. And they speak about whether they find him attractive or not. And what you find is that one of the young women doesn't find him attractive. The other two, it seems like they're impartial, or they actually find him attractive or appealing. There is another conversation to be had about these women finding men with status attractive, even if they're not physically attractive. So that's a whole different conversation that can be had also. All right. And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And of course, somebody's calling me right now. My apologies, y'all. Of course. But yeah, so, and that kind of threw me off a little bit. Back to the topic. All right. So, yeah, so there's a conversation to be had about what women find appealing and attractive, because they did kind of go off on a tangent a little bit and speak about Jay-Z, and how Jay-Z is not necessarily attractive, but he is appealing, I guess, or he may not be physically attractive, but he's attractive either way. All right, so the conversation starts off with them speaking about Jonathan Majors, and how they find him attractive, and how it's so disappointing how he is how he was kind of gallivanting in Europe with a white woman. And this is where we get into the interesting part of the conversation, the hypocrisy of the conversation, which is where BGS kind of led into towards the end of his segment on his video, which is how we justify, and when I say we, I mean black women, how they justify the hypocrisy in having an issue with black men being in a relationship with white women, but how it's not a problem when a black woman is in a relationship with a white man. Now, here we go. Now, this is where divestors come in and swirlers come in, right? It's, well, when black women are in relationships with white men, you see those white men loving them up, translation, blowing smoke up their end. You see those, they've tried with black men, right? They've tried with black men. Every black man, I don't know, in American history, but definitely post-slavery, definitely post-Jim Crow, has been hearing this. Since the end of Loving versus Virginia, every time a black man is in a relationship with a white woman, it's because he has a problem with he has an inferiority complex. He's dating her because he's trying to climb up in status. He thinks he's better than black women. He is colorist. He probably is low-key a racist towards black women. And the difference is when a black woman dates a white man, marries a white man, it's because she tried. She really tried with black women. With black men, excuse me. She really tried with black men. She tried. But black men are so colorist and so mean and so lazy and don't want to give up the money if they do have the money, and they probably don't have the money because they're losers, right? That she ends up dating a white man, and the white man treats her so much better than the black man, right? Especially when we're speaking about successful black women, the Eves of the world, the Serena Williams, which those two names came up in the conversation amongst the three young women, right? Now, the hypocrisy in the matter. It's I did it, you did it. But you did it because you're a selfish, excuse my language, bastard. And the reason why I did it is because I'm so tired of trying with you lazy, shiftless, loser black men, right? I'm so tired of trying with you. And I shouldn't be faulted, excuse me, trying to check the chat real quick. I don't know what's going on with the chat, and I don't even know if I'm still in right now. I cannot check my messages right now. I don't know what's up. There we go. All right. Okay. Yeah, but you know, and so that is what is interesting about this conversation. It's the I went left, you went left, or I went right, you went right. But you went right because you were tired, and it was the smarter thing to do, right? You just want to be loved on and elevated, and just, you want someone to care about you and treat you like a queen. And when I do it, it's because I'm some type of tyrant who wants somebody to ego stroke me and placate me, right? I have an issue with my blackness. You as a black woman don't have an issue with your blackness. You just want to be loved on and treated like the queen you are. Me, I want to rain down on someone, so I want to pick this weaker vessel in this white woman and have her ego stroke and placate me all day, every day. See her as a status symbol to show that I have arrived as a black man. I'm no longer just a black man. I am above that. And because I have an inferiority complex as a black man, I want the accoutrement of white men. And the accoutrement of white men, the number one accoutrement of white men, is his women, white women. You hear this from swirlers, divestors, black women academics, black women entertainers, bitter, angry black women, not so bitter, angry black women, light-skinned black women, mixed black women, dark-skinned black women. You hear this from them ad nauseum, that there is some type of difference between when black women end up with white men and when black men end up with white women, right? Unfortunately for them, we have the internet now. Unfortunately for them, they don't get to run the yard with the conversation anymore, making it seem like black men have some type of insatiable inferiority complex, while black women, on the other hand, no, they're just looking for love. No, they're not looking for status. They're not looking for status when they marry white men. No, never, right? Oh, you know what? Every once in a while, they'll throw someone like Candace Owens under the bus and say, yeah, a black woman like Candace Owens may be looking for status with a white man, but definitely not black lefty black women. Black lefty women are never looking for status when they date and marry white men, or any non-black men for that matter, right? That's what makes these conversations a bowl of hypocrisy. A bowl full of hypocrisy. I went left, you went left, but you went left because of your sense of you have a duty to yourself. You shouldn't have to hold out for black men. It's not fair to ask you to hold out for black men in this magical, fake loser talk of black love. But when a black man dates out or marries out, definitely marries out, it's because he's trying to show his status in this society. He's trying to show that he's arrived. He's trying to show white men, look, I can have what you can have. Right? And this is what the young women are saying. This is what swirlers say. This is what divestors say. Right? Whether they're card-carrying swirlers or divestors, and know about this supposed movement, or if they just adhere to the tenets without even knowing that this is a thing. Right? And so shout out to BGS for his work, but he took it up there in the intellectual space, right? If you're an academic, you can listen into it, but I'm bringing it back to the ground a little bit so that we can speak about the hypocrisy and then how that hypocrisy manifests out in the black community. When black women are celebrated for being in relationships with white men, and nobody wants to be honest that also it's because white men created the white racist anti-black system in the first place. And so these black women feel like when they're with the white man, they have God in their hands, right? They're being anointed by God, right? When they have a white man, he's validating her beauty. That same dark-skinned beauty oftentimes that the white men poo-pooed, the same white men that insulted Serena Williams for years, the ones that were calling her monkeys. The white men that were calling her monkey, all of a sudden she marries a white man that looks like the ones that were calling her monkey. And all of a sudden we don't remember any of that. All we remember is the one or two black men that did not find her attractive and that agreed with those white men. We don't remember any of the black men that loved Serena Williams' shape. Any of the black men that would have easily drank her bathwater. Them to chastise the rest of black men when Serena does eventually marry the white man. Right? We don't have anything to say about Tika Sumpter and her jihad agenda against black men, and how every time you interview her about interracial relationships, she always has something slick to say, like she's just not in love with that white man that she's married to now. She's with him as a political statement. Right? No one has anything to say about that. Because Tika Sumpter, as gorgeous as she is, right? In her dark relationship she's in, this marriage that she's in, and that is pretty much a political statement that she's making. No one sees that, or we see that and we understand. We sympathize because black men ain't issue. When black men date out or when black men date out or marry out, it's because they're making a stand. They're trying to rub it in white men's faces and in black women's faces. But Tika Sumpter literally telling you that's what she's doing. You don't have to speculate. She's literally telling you that's what she's doing. No one has anything to say about that. No one has anything to say about that. No one has anything to say about Aisha Taylor. At one point, gorgeous, tall black woman, tall as a tree. And her being with her white man that they couldn't conceive, and that might have been one of the things that led to the divorce. That white man goes off, marries a white woman after 10 years of being married to Aisha Taylor, and Aisha Taylor ends up with the white woman after the fact. Right? Aisha Taylor ends up with a white woman. And that's no dig at LGBTQ black folks or LGBTQ white folks. It is interesting how our life works though sometimes, right? You know, and this speaks to an idea that black men are irredeemable. Black women love black men in spite of black men being black men. Black men are losers, absolute positive losers. And black women love black men anyway. So when black women end up outside of the black context, outside of a black relationship, and end up in an interracial relationship with any non-black man, whether he's Latino, Asian, or white, but primarily white, it's an automatic elevation. It don't matter how loser of a white man it is. Simply his white skin in this white society is an automatic elevation. And at least she got away from the stench of blackness primarily held by black men. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And what we're finding more and more is that it's not just non-black people that have this idea or notion in their head. Black women hold this idea in their head. The swirlers and divestors are just the loudest about it. Now, this is not exclusive to swirlers and divestors. When you speak to Black women about their love of Black men, a handful of them can vocalize it in a way that's still not backhanded and insulting to Black men. Many Black women, when you ask them about their love of Black men or why they date Black men, they start to sound like they love Black men in spite of Black men being Black men. Black men are losers and shiftless and lazy and horrible fathers and horrible husbands. But Black women love Black men in spite of all of that. Mainly because of Black men's physique. Mainly because of Black men's sexual member. Mainly because Black men are the face of cool. But everything outside of that kind of realm of humanity, that realm of masculinity, Black women love Black men in spite of all of these negative things. But if you're a Black woman and you want to elevate in this society, and you want to be a white-collar Black woman, or you want to be a stay-at-home wife, and you have aspirations outside of the average, right? And your goal in life is to achieve something great. You want to leave a mark on this world. Then why would you ever shackle yourself to a Black man? Why would you ever be in intimate relationship with a white man? With a Black man. Why would you ever do that to yourself? Train tracks, right? And so what you saw on that video from 3 mixed Black women was the hypocrisy. The hypocrisy in Black man being with white women and Black women being with white men. And the hypocrisy that Black women hold, not white men, not white women, not Black men, but that Black women hold. And how Black women use the concept of intersectionality to excuse everything that they do and say. I'm so put upon as a Black woman that when I date out, it's automatically an elevation because the white man sits on top of this racial hierarchy. So his mere status as a white man is elevating to me, number one. Number two, because Black men are such losers, when I end up with a white man, which white men aren't, it's interesting because white men aren't known for passion. Black men and Latino men are known for passion. But what Black women are telling you is that white men know how to love up on Black women. When white men and Black women get together, white men know how to love up on Black women and elevate Black women. Even though the stereotype of passionate is that of Latino men and Black men. But Black women are saying, no. When we end up with white men, somehow it just clicks, and they know how to be passionate with us and how to elevate us in our darker skin tones. They understand the plight of Black women better than Black men do. That is what is being said here. Right? That is what is being said here. That's what makes this conversation so interesting. The hypocrisy. The hypocrisy is so thick, you can't take a whiff of it. It's like fentanyl, you'll just pass out. Right? But these 3 mixed Black women, products of white mothers and Black fathers, are telling you that Black men, when Black men get with white women, they throw it in Black women's faces. They're with these white women as a status symbol. They're with Black women and because they just can't stand Black women. They're with white women because there's something wrong with Black women. Now, Black women are with white men for love. Oh, wow. But the beauty of the swirlers and divestors is they say everything but that. Love comes down at the bottom of the list somewhere at 20th place, 50th place, 100th place or something like that. Love is nowhere near the top 3. The first things out their mouth is protection, providership, and status. The first things out their mouth. But these 3 women are saying, no, it's not that. It's because the white man knows how to cherish us. He knows how to elevate us. He knows how to treat us right. The same white men that are the creators and perpetuators of this white supremacist system. The same white men that were talking to their girlfriends and wives all type of crazy during the Trump ascendancy. Those same type of white men. The same type of white men where you're hearing, and Tariq Nasheed covered this some time ago, where black women that are in interracial relationships, it was 3 or 4 black women in interracial relationships with white men, they got to go and have their whole breather session with each other because their white husbands and boyfriends just don't understand the plight of being black in this society, particularly black women. So they all got to go do their powwow thing, their sister girl thing, away from those white men every once in a while. Right? But what these women are telling us is those same black women are loved upon and elevated by white men. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Definitely hit the like button on your way in. Those same black women, the hypocrisy is so thick, you can't even slice it with a knife. And this is what passes as commentary in the black community. From 3 mixed black women, you hear this from your card-carrying swirlers and divestors. You hear this from your not card-carrying swirlers and divestors. Once again, I want to stress this point, which is black men are so horrible of men that black women love black men in spite of everything negative about black men. They have a condition somehow. This is where you get the black male worship conversation that comes from swirlers and divestors. Black women have been socialized to worship black men, right? That's why they love black men in spite of black men not building anything, not being protectors, not being providers, not knowing what it is to be a man, not knowing what it means to be a husband or a father. Black women love black men in spite of all of these shortcomings of black men. Now, white men, of course, they know exactly how to execute all of their husbandly duties, all of their fatherly duties, all of their protector provider duties. And so when you love a white man, you don't love him in spite of all of his shortcomings. You love him because of everything that he is. When you love a black man, you love him in spite of his shortcomings as a deficient boy child. Right? You love him in spite of all of that. Because black men don't know how to be black men. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I said that wrong. Black men don't know how to be men. White men know how to be men. White men know how to be men. It's as if there's not a 50% divorce rate or 50+% divorce rate, and we're not even counting separation amongst white people. And white women are the ones that are leaving. Right? It's not that white women are the fastest growing, have the fastest growing child out of wedlock birth rate. And that's not because of black men, that's because of white men. No, that doesn't exist. It's not that white men also have the fastest growing rate of young men not attending college and university. No. No. Right? It's not that white women don't have complaints about white men. No, 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 no. As a matter of fact, black women see that because in these particular black women's minds, the two spoiled group of people in the black race and the white race is white women are the spoiled group in the white race and black men are the spoiled group in the black race. In other words, black men are the ones that are not they're the ones that are not carrying their weight in the black race, and white women are the ones that are not carrying their weight in the white race. And so all the complaints of white women are just bratty, entitled white women, the Karens of the white community. This is also why they brag about that divorce rate between white men and black women. The reason why it's so low is because you have the best representation of the black race getting with the best representation of the white race, and so they build superhumans. That is another reason why they're okay with mixed children from black women and white men because the black woman teaches that child how to be black in America. Where black men, don't teach children anything. They're just happy to be with a white woman. They never consider what it means to raise a mixed child. Oh yeah, it gets deep. It gets deep. The hypocrisy gets deep. They find all type of weird ways to justify all of it. All of it. Once again, I went left, you went left, but you went left because you're a loser who doesn't want to be with a black woman and fulfill your duties as a man as dictated by this white supremacist society. But when I go left, I went left because I just couldn't. It's not fair to tell me to try to stick it out with black men, these lazy, shiftless bums. Right? Oh yeah, it gets deep. Right? And this is what passes for intelligent commentary in the black community. Black women and their hypocrisy. This is what passes for being smart, for giving, a good faith argument about the difference between black men and black women. When black men engage in interracial relationships and when black women engage in it. Now, never mind how many black women are running around America with mixed children and no wedding ring. Never mind that. Right? We won't speak about that. We won't speak about that insane amount of black women running around here with mixed children from white men, Latino men, Asian men, with no wedding ring. No. Because black men black men are such losers that even when they go outside of the black race, they leave hordes of non-black women as single mothers. We will never speak about all of the single mother black women with non-black fathers. All the children with non-black fathers and a black mother, and the mother has no wedding ring. The mother has never been married to that man. The hypocrisy. This is what passes as, good faith commentary in the black community. Once again, black men are losers. They're shiftless. They don't want to be men. They don't know how to be men because we baby them in the black community, right? Once again, what? We raise our daughters and we love our sons, which means we handicap our sons, we neuter them. And then when they become adults, they don't know how to be men. They have painted an entire black women in America and in the West, quite frankly, have painted this elaborate picture as dictated by intersectionality, this elaborate picture of them being so put upon by everyone, particularly black men, right? They've been put upon so that anything they do is justifiable. Anything negative they do is justifiable. Anything negative they say is justifiable. They use intersectionality, as a shield to shield them from any type of criticism. I am a black woman. And if I'm a black woman and LGBTQ, because you sit higher up on the ladder, you can't tell me how I should go about my life. You can't critique me. Nothing I do is shameful. Nothing I do is wrong. Nothing I do can be brought in for questioning, because I did what I needed to do to survive in this white supremacist, patriarchal, capitalist, neoliberal, etc. and so forth society. Now everyone else does what they're doing as a cold, calculated, right, understanding of this society. I'm doing what I'm doing because it's the only way I can survive in this society. This is how the modern 21st century, especially academically inclined black women speaks. They may not say it verbatim, but they definitely imply it and suggest it. They are beyond reproach. They cannot be critiqued, right? What is beautiful about the 21st century and the swirler divestment movement, the swirler movement and the divestment movement and the black women in luxury movement and the black women level up movement, etc., is that black women under the age of 40 have no couth. They're on microphones yelling it. We want to be upper middle class white women. They're not being coy about it. They're telling you, we want the status of upper middle class white women. We want the lifestyle of upper middle class white women. We want the men that upper middle class white women have access to. They're not doing this as a response to black men. They've always thought and felt this way. They just have the internet to say it to each other and to say it to the world now. Right? These women claim to be loyal to black men. Right? The biggest issue black women have is that they're too loyal to black men. We have articles left and right written by not just black women, but even black men and some white women that say black women, the best thing black women could do for themselves is to marry a white man. That is the best thing they can do for themselves in this society. Which speaks to what I said earlier. If you're a black woman and you're about your business, the best thing you can do for yourself is marry a white man. That is the best thing you can do. Because he takes life seriously, unlike that trifling black dude that's been chasing after you for months. Right? Black women's biggest problem is that they're black male identified, they're black male worshippers, they're too loyal to black men. Right? They've been socialized to only see black men, and black men keep on lying to them about how racist non-black men are to scare them. It's all a scare tactic. Right? All your swirlers and divestors, that's all they got for you. Everything black men say about race and racism and anti-blackness is all a scare tactic. Right? Detroit, you're going to have to go into detail. Detroit says we can ask Robert Del Rio. Right? And so, once again, thank you, BGS, for his commentary. Thank you to the young women for their commentary and just showing, hey, this is the black community. Yeah, those three black women are mixed, but just because they're mixed, they sound exactly like your standard issue fully black woman. Because they sound exactly the same. There's a difference and black women shouldn't be faulted for or seen or looked upon suspiciously for being in a relationship with white men. But black men should be seen and looked at suspiciously for being in a relationship with a white woman. Trell Bentley says, do you mean Robert De Niro? And then your comment makes so much more sense now. Your comment makes so much more sense now. Right? But yes, this is the world that we're in. Right? The hypocrisy is great. And that's unfortunate. They can't see themselves. These women are insulting the intelligence of the world, but particularly black men. Yeah, I did it, you did it, but you did it because you're a loser. I did it because it's high time that I, try out my options and try something different and new and not be stuck in the black community with you. Right? Not be loyal to you anymore. Being loyal to black men is draining. It takes too much energy. It takes too much time. They still don't appreciate it. They still don't love you the way they should. They still don't provide for you or protect you. They're still shiftless and selfish. Right? The hypocrisy is great. And so we've seen it on full display here. This is the beauty of the internet. What does Mr. Z tell y'all? The internet will expose us all. No, really, the internet is helping us to expose ourselves. It's always been this. That's why I made sure to say this is not black women responding to years of misogyny, because somebody somewhere is going to say, no, this, well, yeah, yeah, okay, so it looks a little hypocritical, excuse me, right? Tripping over my own words here. Yeah, it may look a little hypocritical, Z, but you have to understand these black women are responding to years and decades of misogyny. No, 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 no. Black women have always thought this. They've always felt this. They just now have the access with their cell phones and cameras that now they can say it to the world. They've always thought this. This is not a response. This is not in response to black men in this supposed misogyny. No, the misandry has been there too. Just as long, if not longer. I'm just saying. This is the same. These are the same type of women that say, "Oh, well, we're saying this because of Tommy Sotomayor. Y'all should have did something about Tommy Sotomayor 10 years ago." Da 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 da. Wait a minute. How many times was Tommy Sotomayor responding to a black woman or black women? Did he exist in a vacuum? It's the hypocrisy, and it's the way we attempt to justify the hypocrisy. It's the way we attempt to justify the hypocrisy. It's not just the hypocrisy. You know, you could speak to someone and be like, "Bro, you sounding like you sounding a little bit like a hypocrite," and they're kind of, pull back a little bit. You know what? You're right. Yeah, man, I wasn't thinking about that. I didn't consider that. No, it's the hypocrisy, and then when somebody stands on it and then attempts to justify it. Yeah, you're saying this, and yeah, I'm saying this, but you're saying this for a different reason than I'm saying this. What I'm saying is above board. What you're saying is cold and calculated and insidious, right? You're being cynical. I'm not being cynical. I'm just looking for love and someone to cherish me and treat me like the beautiful black queen that I am. You're looking for someone to lord over, right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. It is beautiful when you watch somebody, when you can watch someone's hypocrisy on film and watch how they attempt to justify it. It's not the hypocrisy, it's the attempt to justify it. That's always the interesting part. Right? These women are mixed, and all three of them, from my understanding, are the products of black fathers, white mothers. And you can never tell because they sound like your standard issue black woman. Right? They sound like your standard issue black woman. And black men are supposed to build, maintain a community with a group of people that are allergic to any type of accountability, any type of concept of, you know what, I was wrong. I did this out of spite, and it ended up biting you and then me in the back end and the kids. You can't even get them to say that. You live in a community with a woman that lied to her children and to her community about her ex-husband touching the kids, touching those daughters. When she got caught on national TV, when the lie detector came back and said she lied and she knows she lied, she looked her ex-husband in the face in front of her adult daughters and said, if you knew it was a lie, why didn't you fight harder? You live in a community like that. Right? Thank you, Jade, but I got my Z. Thank God. Knock on wood. Cross fingers. Hopefully it lasts me forever. Right? You live in a community like that. For those of you that don't know, I'm referencing Iyanla Vanzant's show with the mother that lied on her ex-husband, saying her ex-husband, black man, black woman, saying that the black man was touching on the kids, touching on the daughters. When the lie detector comes out and shows that she was lying, she knew she was lying. She destroyed this man's life off of that lie. He couldn't see his children. He was ostracized from the community. And when it came out that she lied, she looked him in the face and said, if you knew it was a lie, why didn't you fight harder? Or why didn't you fight more? Something along those lines. In front of the girls. All the girls are adults. Excuse me, so that women, all of them are adult women now. And she looked in the face and said that. And you want black men to do what with women that are that level of hypocritical? It was one of these Real Housewives or whatever of the whatever, years and years and years ago. I was speaking to my younger sister and I caught a clip of one of them speaking to her kids and her ex-husband. I can't remember, I don't follow sports, so I can't remember what he did or whatever. And he said, I've always tried to reach out to y'all. I've always tried to be there. I always told y'all the truth of who I am. I showed y'all who I really am. Your mother, on the other hand, different. And guess what? Yeah, she was copping please. The kids are even looking at her like, you bitch exclamation points. But in the black community, we are supposed to pretend like that's not a thing. So tying that to this, it's always okay for black women to make a cold, calculated, cynical choice in dating white men for money and status. Now, they could call it love all they want. They could say that he cherished them. He knows how to elevate them. He loves upon them. Translation, he throw cash at every problem. He love upon them. He throw money at every problem. Right? It's interesting. When you're a black man, you have to have rhythm. You have to be funny. You have to be charismatic. You have to have some type of muscular build or frame. What any old white man will do. Right? Any old white man will do. And KW Dawn 7 says, Cynthia G admitted to not dealing with her brother's children because they come out of a toxic womb, but is now advising black women to deal with white men from that same womb. The hypocrisy, shaking my damn head. Exactly. Trell said, cream, get the money. For those of you that don't know what cream means, cash rules everything around me. Wu-Tang song. I know some of the younger millennials and Gen Zs. Mr. Z, we ain't that young. Right? Thank you, Toya. Toya says, likes are free, folks. Thank everyone. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. And this is what makes it, Mr. Z has been in real conversations with the real black women that I know personally, and you hear the same hypocrisy come out. Right? When we love white men, we love for love's sake. When you love upon white women, you love them because you have an insatiable inferiority complex, black man. Black women love for love's sake. Black men love for an agenda, right? What's funny is the conflict between what these women were saying and then what the swirlers and divestors openly not even admit to, what they brag about. I can't even say admit to, what they brag about, right? Would they make sure you know I'm going out here searching, hunting for non-black men, primarily white men, because I want a certain status and outcome from life. Screw love, right? You think that's a recent phenomenon? Black women are only speaking that way as a response to black men? Or is it that these type of black women, this type of mindset has existed in the black community since the plantation? Right? Need I say it? It's better to be a white man's whore than the gum on the bottom of a black man's shoe? Need I say it? That sentiment has followed the black community since the plantation. And not just in America, since the plantation all over the West, the Caribbean, South America, North America. That mentality has followed the black community since the plantation. There is nothing a black man can ever do or achieve to put him on the same level as white men. And if he does get there, hard if, and he has the unmitigated gall, the gumption, the temerity, the audacity to be seen, God forbid, married to a non-black woman, it is an affront to black women. He looked at all the gorgeous, beautiful Kelly Rowland, Carrie Hilson built women and said, no, I'm going to go end up with this strong-faced, chubby, unattractive white woman because she's everything better than any type of black woman. Right? And so it is important that we speak about this and we show this and we let everyone know that this is what's going on in the black community. The hypocrisy is deep. And all three of these women said they grew up in a black context. So they're not just mixed women that their mom took them out to white suburbs and they grew up around white women and white people. No, their mothers were white, but they grew up very black. They are black women. We wouldn't see them any different in the black community. Yeah, they're mixed, but they're black. Black experiences, black vernacular, sound black. If you heard any of them speak, you would, and you didn't see them, you would see them as black women. You would hear them, excuse me, as black women. So none of that, well, yeah, but they're mixed, so no, we can't hold them to the same. Yeah, no, they're black women. I know some dark-skinned black women don't want to claim them. No, they're black women. Right. Right. So the hypocrisy is deep. And for the foreseeable future, we will continue as a society to celebrate black women who end up with white men because we see that somehow as a slap in the face to white supremacy. A black woman ending up with a white man is somehow an affront to the white supremacist agenda because a white man has elevated the beauty of a black woman. They were gallivanting with some black women during slavery, during Jim Crow. Y'all forgot how we got the term honky? I'm just saying. But somehow in the black community and in white society, a black woman with a white man is somehow, that shows that we're progressive in this society. I'm pretty sure the DeBarge family would have something to say about that. Y'all go find out about their father. Right? I'm pretty sure that mixed black girl that just snitched her father out at his funeral, her white father, embarrassed the whole the whole white side of the family was like, oh, God damn it, she's snitching. I'm pretty sure she would have something to say about that too. Right? This concept that white men know how to love up on black women and white men elevate black women. And when a white man and a black woman are together, it's an affront to white supremacy. It shows that we're progressive as a Western society. Because this white man that could sit on his laurels, that he could sit there and enjoy his whiteness and go end up with a white woman and have fully white kids, he decided, no, I'm going to slap white supremacy in the face and end up with a black woman and raise these mixed kids to be... ... what? Right? So I'll truly pause right there. Thank y'all for checking me out, right? Listening in. This was my response to BGS, right? And to the young ladies that put out the stream. They've also spoken about Kevin Samuels once. They're not new, by the way. They're not new. Kevin Samuels responded to them when he was alive. Rest in peace, Kevin. Because they had something to say about him. You know, the hypocrisy is deep, everyone. The hypocrisy is deep, right? And like I said, I wanted to kind of bring this back down to the ground a little bit. Shout out to the brother BGS. Always great work. Always, right? And he spoke about he spoke about it. He showed you what it is. I just want to, you know, bring it back down a little bit more further to the ground. And this is what the black community has to deal with. It's nearly impossible to have a good faith conversation about everything going on in the black community when black women sound like this. Not all. Now most, I'll let you decide on that. But when you can see the hypocrisy this deep and they stand on it and try to justify it, I don't know what you can do with that, really. Right? I don't really know what you can do with that. So I'll truly pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Detroit. Thank you, KW Dawn. And thank you, Toya, for the super chat. Mr. Z out. All right, y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Y'all know what I like to say. Go check out some other Black Manosphere content and go check out some news or something that's going on in the world or in America that has nothing to do with this. Right? So you don't sound as delusional as some of these swirlers and divestors in their bubble. All right? Mr. Z out.